Welcome back to Saints Together, Conversations in Leadership and Christian Higher Education. My name is Jay McCurry. I serve as the Provost and Chief Academic Officer at Randall University in Moore, Oklahoma. Today, we're talking about something that shapes campus culture in a powerful way, and that is athletics. It's not just the wins or the losses, but it is the formation. We're talking about teamwork, discipline, identity, and what it looks like to compete with conviction. Today, I'm joined by Joe Fedeli, Randall University's athletic director and head athletic trainer. Joe, I want to say welcome to our podcast.
Thank you, Dr. McCurry, for having me today.
So, Joe, we're going to jump right in, and I want to talk a little bit, give us an overview of what we're involved in and what teams we offer at Randall.
Well, we participate in the National Christian College Athletic Association, which was founded, I believe, in 1968. And it's an association of exclusively private Christian colleges, for the most part, relatively small, very, very similar to us as far as enrollment goes. In that group, we participate in the Southwest region, which encompasses us, Arlington Baptist University, Dallas Christian College, the College of Biblical Studies in Houston, Southwestern Adventist in Keene, Texas, which is down by Fort Worth, and Champion Christian College, which is in Hot Springs, Arkansas. We participate in men's and women's soccer, men's and women's basketball, baseball, and volleyball. So we offer 6 sports at our level.
That's fantastic. It's always fun to watch our teams play. And as of this recording, our women's basketball just won regionals last week and will be going to finals here in the next few weeks. So as a campus, we're really excited for them and really proud of their hard work. Let's talk for just a second about leadership. And so I want to ask the question, when you're looking for a future coach at Randall, what rises to the top? So what are some non-negotiables and what are some green flags that tell you, hey, this person can build the right culture here? We may have somebody listening and they're looking at hiring a coach. So, how much weight do you put on character and discipleship and alignment with Randall's mission?
I've had, in my first year as the athletic director, I had to make 2 hires, men's basketball and men's baseball. And I know that the number one thing we were looking for in both those roles is I wanted someone who fit the mission of the college. I'm not saying they had to be a Free Will Baptist, but someone that fit the Christian Bible-based mission of the college was kind of the number one thing that we looked for. In that, you're also looking for a man of really good character when you look into his background, who is going to have the ability to recruit. Sometimes at our level, recruiting can be difficult, but someone that has the ability to recruit. Also, and this is something I told both coaches, is it's really important to me that when our teams play, that we look like we're a baseball team or we look like we're a basketball team. I know we're not going to win every night, but I at least want us to look like we know what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And so someone who has some proven coaching ability, I think is important. But then also someone, and you really only get this from spending time with them to kind of find out what their spiritual mentality of themselves and their families are, getting to spend some time with their families. That's one of the things that I do ask when they come in for interviews. If at all possible, I want to meet your wife and your kids and spend some time with them and take you out to dinner and sit down and spend some time outside of just the 30 or 45-minute actual interview we're going to have. And so I would say alignment with the school and also be able to determine their level of character are probably the 2 most important things for me. And I will say in the 2 hires that I've made so far, I think I hit home runs in both of those with the 2 guys that we hired for baseball and men's basketball. They have both exceeded my expectations in both those areas.
I agree 100%. We have a fantastic coaching staff, men and women here, and you have done a fantastic job of filling those roles. I want to flip to the topic of recruiting for a second, and I want to ask the question, what do your coaches look for in recruits beyond talent? So when a student athlete is a right fit for Randall, what does that look like? What do you want recruits and families to know about Randall's expectations academically, spiritually, and athletically? So a lot of our coaches, they're on the road a lot. They're meeting families. They're meeting individually with potential students. Talk to us a little bit about the recruiting side of things.
I think recruiting athletes is somewhat similar to recruiting and hiring a coach. I think number one, they have to be willing to assimilate into the campus life and the campus mission. We're not changing for them; they're going to have to change for us if somebody has to change. And so, recruiting kids of good character, recruiting kids who hopefully come from some sort of a Christian background. Again, does not have to be for a Will Baptist, but of some Christian background, I think is important. Academics, we tend to take academics very seriously here. I mean, you're here to get an education. We don't have one kid in our athletic department that's going to play professional sports. I hate to break that to them, but that's just the way it is.
That's the way it is.
And so if you're not here to get a degree, then you're kind of wasting everybody's time and money by that. So I think that's a super duper important part of recruiting kids. And then on the spiritual side of it, I don't think anybody here is naive enough to expect that all these kids are perfect little angels when they show up. I mean, they are 18 to 21, 22-year-old kids, but at least have to be open to absorbing some of the spiritual Christianity that we bring to the table here, I think are really important to develop in kind of the whole person. And then then probably lastly is I want kids who want to be here. I don't, kids who come in and the first week they're here, all they tell you is everything that's wrong with the place or how much better things were where they came from. That kid probably needs to go back where he came from. And so having kids who genuinely want to be here, I think is a really big part of what we look for too.
Yeah, we truly are building teams that represent Christ and the university with integrity on the field and off the field. Great response. Joe, you carry a lot with administration, operations, training, travel, eligibility, budgets, relationships. I mean, the list goes on and on with your role and just your influence with our coaches and student athletes. I want to ask you, what's the most challenging part of your role right now?
I think probably the most challenging part is when you do juggle two different roles of the athletic director and the athletic trainer. I think there are some times when you're knee deep in the middle of some athletic director stuff. Like I'll give you an example. Just an hour ago, I was spending some time with the guy who takes care of weeding and seeding our soccer and baseball fields. And while I was in there talking to him, we were talking about kind of the plan for our soccer field going forward for next season. One of the women's basketball players came in and said, "Hey, can you come look at my ankle?" And I'm like, "Well, can I get to you in a minute because I'm kind of dealing with this right now?" And so that crossover can be really challenging. I mean, it's part of the reason I'm also talking about moving my office downstairs to where, so I'm not just going up and down the stairs all the time because, between my two areas. But that's probably my biggest challenge. And I will say this, the administration's been super supportive operationally and budget-wise and things of that nature, allowing me to bring in a compliance officer to help with some of those things. I don't travel as much as I would like, but that's just because when one sport's on the road, chances are there's one sport here also. And so you kind of have to
decide which one to go to.
Yeah, you kind of have to take care of things at home. But I would say that the pull between the two different roles is probably my biggest challenge.
That's great. Well, you do a great job of juggling all that, and we're super honored to have you here. I want to kind of bring this to a close, and I want to kind of wrap this up and put a bow on it. But I kind of want to ask this final question, and I just want you to talk to us about discipleship and athletics. How do you help coaches and student athletes see that sports can be a place of spiritual formation, not just performance?
I think probably the best example of discipleship in athletics is probably the example that our coaches have that their players see. And so when the players see a coach who is a godly person, who his spiritual relationship and his relationship with Christ is a really, really hugely important part of their lives. I think when they see that, kids want to assimilate and kind of mimic their coaches in most regards for the most part. And so I think that's probably the biggest thing that we do
That's great.
as far as when you hire good people, you're going to have good kids.
Right.
And I've worked at a lot of different levels, and I've been at places where we only really care about what the kids do athletically. I've been at those places, and I know what that looks like, and I know what I want this to look like. And so to have coaches who do set really, really good examples, I think is the best way that we kind of show kids kind of what we're looking for.
Great response. That's why it's so important that we get the right coaches in place. And we do have the right coaches in place because they are those examples and those leaders for our student athletes to look up to. When you have coaches that are missionally aligned with the university, then you're going to get students that are missionally aligned. Joe, I just want to say thank you so much. I appreciate your leadership, because athletics at Randall is not just about building athletes, it's about building men and women of character, rooted in Christ and prepared for life. To everyone listening, if you're a student, an alumni, a parent, or a supporter, keep praying for our teams, show up when you can, and keep helping us build something that honors the Lord. This has been Saints Together. Continue to be the leader that you would follow. My name is Jay McCurry, and we'll see you next time.